Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Pam Holt, the happy host, and this is the second episode of the Host Your Home Show. I'm very excited today because I am going to teach you, and I'm going to bring on an expert to teach you to attract more guests, which means more money, by attracting your ideal guest on Instagram. And I know some of you might be a little hesitant to have your home out there on Instagram, but I assure you that if you're interested in really building a business, you need a social media presence. Gone are the days when you can just post a listing on Airbnb and hope for the best. You must market, and the more you market, the more you hone down and tune in to your ideal client, the better you'll be and the better your guest experience will be. So let's bring on the expert, Lace Hernandez. She's with Mint STR Hosting. She's going to tell us all about what we need to know for hosting our home on Instagram. So hang on. Hello. You're muted. You have to unmute. There you
Here I
go.
am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited because I think any way that you can market to your guests that's free is fantastic. And I think because hosting is so very visual with the destinations near your home, the interior of your home, it's a very visual experience. And so Instagram is the perfect platform for that. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you explain everything home hosts need to know about listing their space and marketing it on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I love always collaborating with you.
Always fun.
So let's go and get started. I wanted to first introduce who I am. I'm Lace Hernandez. I love this community of Instagram and short-term rentals and how we've managed to tie them both together. And I'm going to be talking about how to start from square one. This can be intimidating because plenty of us don't have the time to go on Instagram and learn about it, and sometimes we're just too busy to start something new. But I assure you, it's not that hard once you take the time to learn. And I promise you, I'm gonna make it quick, and I have resources to make it quick, so you don't have to spend that much time on something new, right? So I wanted to talk about how I started. I love experiencing each place I visit as a local, so that's how I fell in love with short-term rentals back in maybe 2017, 2016, when I started traveling, and I just don't love the hotel vibe. It's just like every room is the same. And when I discovered Airbnb and short-term rentals in general, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I wanted to start digging into that. Then I started learning about Instagram because it was same time frame. And I realized that there is a gap between the short-term rentals and Instagram. There was a gap in the time. So that's how I started Mint STR Hosting. For me, it was important to bring resources to hosts on how to market their rentals on Instagram in a time where everything was so new. So I've been with Mint for about 4 years now, helping hosts like you deal with Instagram and learn all the new tricks in the ever-changing world of social media. So if you're here, you probably have an idea of how important marketing is for businesses, right? Pretty much everything is moving to socials and platforms like this and YouTube. So we have to adjust if we want to be successful. We can't rely on just having it on Airbnb. The competition out there is fierce.
Right.
As you all may know, there are so many new rentals every time. And it's just getting difficult to stand out. So I think this is a good opportunity. One with design, which Pam, you're the expert here on that. And then with marketing. Not everyone can market their property. So if you are on Instagram, on social media, you're a step ahead.
Right.
So definitely Instagram is a powerful marketing tool. They've been using it for every niche. You see Instagram accounts for pretty much everything. Snacks, drinks, stores, boutiques, pretty much everything. So we definitely have to be there. So I wanted to talk about and make it this a conversation, right? And try to teach you that you can be successful on Instagram. There are few tricks, but if you get it right, you can be successful, right? I want you to spend less time on Instagram, but get better results. You don't have to be stuck in your phone every day, hours to make something work. And then we're going to learn how to create your marketing plan, how to start. There's so much more than what we're going to be covering today, but this is the basics on how to get started. And then we can learn more about how to make it even better. But for those of you that are just starting, I think it's very important to have the few basics well done from the beginning. Or if you have already started and have not, gotten the traction you want, just go back and revisit and start fresh with a few of the guidelines that I think are very important.
Okay.
Okay, so these are three things that we're going to be covering today. First, we're going to define your foundation. Something I think is very important that we define something from the beginning before we start working on something bigger. And then we're going to go over how to optimize your Instagram profile. I'm going to talk more about what that means. And then third step is creating a marketing plan. And again, as I said, we're going to make this very basic, but it is a great start for you. So first thing is defining your foundations. For me, is very important. As I said, there's so much competition out there, so you have to have something that makes you stand out.
Right.
So that is achieved through these things that I call my 3 pillars of the Instagram strategy. You need to have a purpose, right? You are not there just to have it. We want to make business, we want to make money, but we also want to make people feel like they're at home. We want to make them feel like they are at a place that they can relax and unwind. So those things you need to keep in mind when you are starting your Instagram strategy. So think about how you want your guests to feel. What are you serving them with? What is that thing that makes you special? We also talk about your niche. Again, competition is fierce out there. So you have to have something that makes you like very special amongst the many rentals that are out there. And I'm going to show you a few examples next. So you can see what I mean. But also,
we love examples. I can't wait to see your examples.
Those are one of my favorite accounts, but we'll see it right now. And then your brand. So when we talk about brand, it's not only your logo. You don't even need to have a logo. It's good if you have something that differentiates you, but that's not the only thing. You also have to think about your colors. What colors are you want to be using? That if someone sees that color, think about, I think that's the account that I follow, or I like those
right. Colors. They can recognize it.
They can recognize it, exactly. So those are things that you have to think about. And some people are like, I don't know what colors to use. Well, think about the decoration of your property, because you're going to have pictures there. Maybe
that's
those
what I did.
You're starting. Exactly.
That's exactly what I did. I had a lot of orange in my house somehow, my furniture and things. And so one of my brand colors is orange. And the other one I pulled from a piece of art that I have in my home. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can literally find a pillow or a piece of art in your home, select a few colors from that inspiration and go with it. That could be your brand.
Exactly. So we often think we overthink. We think this is like a science. Well, there's science behind colors, right? There's people that actually study that, but we don't have to get that complicated. We can select a few colors to start with, and then we'll figure out if it works or not. But just get started, which is what we want to send the message here. Okay, so these are some examples. These are hosts that, for me, have nailed their niche and their brand. The first one here is Pink Cactus in Arizona. If you see here, maybe it's not super clear, but they are targeting bachelorette parties, and the whole property is perfect for that. They have little areas for people to get ready, for the girls to get ready. They have a lot of areas where they could take pictures and have that environment of party. Also, their colors are very well targeted to what they want. The other account that I love, it's called Poet Sludge. You can find them on Instagram. The whole brand is around people who love books. So they will have a lot of pictures with books. They will have their library. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that's a good
Um,
one. I tell people that all the time. If you have a personal library, that's a great focus for
yes,
as a
something you
differentiating
can market.
point for you. Yeah, it's perfect. And
Exactly.
I had books in my home when I have guests, and I always get comments on the library, and so they want to know if they can leave a book and take a book. They tell me that they've spent the vacation reading through some of the books. They ask for more recommendations for books. It's a great way to be different in the market without having to go out and buy anything that you didn't already have.
Exactly. That could be your differentiator, as you mentioned. And it's actually what made me stand, like what made this account stand out for me. The name, it's Poet Sludge, and there's a lot of books in there. For me, it was like so clever. Um, so those are things that you can think about. What would make you special? What would make you different from the competitors out there? So having that in mind, there's also one important aspect, which is your ideal guests. You need to
Yes.
think that a good way to avoid bad reviews or unpleasant experiences is defining who you want to attract before you have guests over. Or if you have already had guests over, from now on, you have to define who you want to attract. And it's hard to do it on the platform on Airbnb, right? Because that's open to everyone. But if you market it, at least on social media, um, to your specific ideal guest, probabilities of them booking are higher. So think
Yeah, that's a
about
good
that.
point. That's a good point.
Mhm.
You can't do that kind of screening on Airbnb, but you can target your marketing and try to attract
Mhm.
those guests who will then go to Airbnb and book with you. That's great.
Exactly. Mhm. So keep in mind that your ideal guest is not everyone. I want people to understand this because some people think, oh, but I'm missing out if I don't market to everyone. And it's quite the opposite. If you're marketing to everyone, you're actually not attracting the ones that are willing to pay what it's worth for the experience that they're going to have. So having this clear will help you determine how you're going to market your rental on social media. And this includes having your bio description, which we're going to be talking next, the style of your pictures, what things you're going to highlight in your pictures. For example, in Poet Sludge, they're highlighting their books because that's something that will attract their ideal guests. And even having your hashtags, which we're going to talk about, that yes, they're still relevant using hashtags. Um, so yeah, this is pretty much your foundations, and these are things that I would like for you to think about before starting your Instagram or before even marketing more on Instagram or social media.
Okay.
Um, these are things, sorry, I missed this. Things that you can think about when you're identifying your ideal guests. Who are they and why they enjoy? So when you have this defined, it's way easier to find your content to share. Because if you're marketing to couples, for example, you're going to focus on sharing things that they can do in a romantic getaway, like get a spa or go to this super romantic restaurant. That will help you in your content creation process. It will make a difference. Here is if there's a group of friends that you want to market it to bachelorette parties, then as the pink cactus, you're gonna more want to be sharing more about like things to do, like partying scene, or things they can enjoy inside of the apartment, right? The pool, they can party there, they can have balloons, they can have these other things that will help you create the content to share. And keep in mind your age interests. If they are mature guests, then you can think about sharing things related to like wine tasting or cooking class or theaters. If you see things that are happening around the area, that's something you can include in your content. Or if there are younger guests, then parks, outdoor activities, even bars or local shops that you can include when you're thinking about your content. So that is why I think it's very important when you are defining this, because for me, it makes it super easier when you're going to start sharing content and things about your property.
It makes it easier for you to decide and know what to share if you know
Exactly.
who's coming.
Exactly.
You can make it consistent and you don't have to think about, of all the things in the world, what
Hmm.
should I put on Instagram? But if you know, well, I cater to, whatever, an older crowd who likes board games, then, you can
Hmm.
have a whole theme around board games and tables set up for board games and whatever cocktails that they can have when they're playing board games. It makes everything else kind
Exactly.
of flow when you know who your
Hmm.
ideal guest is.
Hmm. I think it's like just organizing your ideas, because you can have a lot of ideas, but once you know who exactly you're going to be catering to, then it makes it more obvious. Oh, then I'm going to share about this because that's what they enjoy. Okay. Step number 2 is optimizing your Instagram profile. And this is one of my favorite topics. Um, Maybe because I suffer it the most when I see accounts that could improve it so much more. I'm like, oh, I wish I could help them. Um, so let's talk about what this means. So when I talk about optimizing, I mean using every resource you have on the platform. Like, use it to your advantage. If it's there for, it is there for a reason. You can definitely leverage from it. So let's start with the different elements. We're going to discuss each one of them. And a lot of questions that I receive. Okay, for my profile picture, should it be a logo? Do I need a logo? Should it be a picture of the house? Should it be my picture as a host? So I recommend having either your logo if you have one, and if it's, clearly, you can clearly read it from the circle,
Mm.
or just have a beautiful picture of your house that you can use there. I do not recommend using the picture of the host, because you're not there to sell yourself, unless you want to picture yourself as as an industry leader, and then yes, you can play with that. But if you're there to market your rental, no need to put your face in there.
Yeah, it's about your rental.
It's about your rental, exactly. The name. This is the most important element, I think. The name is different from your username. So your username is the @ that you use to find on Instagram. The name is your description, your short description, like actually what you are. And here, what I recommend is that you use keywords based on the location of your rental and what type of rental it is. Be descriptive, because Instagram has shifted or has integrated SEO, which is search engine optimization. Here, what they do is similar to Google, where you type, you search for something, and they will bring up everything that has those keywords in there. Instagram does that already. So if you go into the search and you type Scottsdale vacation rental, this property will pop up because it has the keywords in the description. So this is very important for everyone. Keep that in mind when you are creating your bio. I think this is the most important thing that you should take from this training. It really makes a difference.
I agree.
Yes. So we're going to skip the bio description. We're going to talk about it in the next slide, but I wanted to also include the website here. The website is your URL. It can be for your direct booking website, Airbnb, or VRBO. Critical for you to have it there. You don't want people to be searching somewhere else or digging into Airbnb to see if they can find you. Have that website there so they can go directly to where they have to go and book your property. One thing that is very important is that when you create your new profile, or if you already have a profile, make sure it is a business account. If you go into your profile in settings, you are going to see your account type. It will be either personal or business or content creator. Business or content creator work very similar, so either one of them, but make sure it is one of those, because it's how you can get a lot of insights, metrics, and also you can set here what type of account you are. In this case, vacation home rental. That category that you add there is very valuable. Okay, then your Instagram description. And this is really where I want to spend some time. Your name is very important, but here you can also add more information and convince your potential guests that this is the place for them to stay. Okay. So you have 150 characters. I recommend you use them all. Talk about, these are the do's that I recommend, right? Highlight your amenities. What is special about your property? Make it obvious. make it obvious in the pictures, but also in your description. For example, there's a rooftop. There's a jacuzzi. I love jacuzzis, and I try to find places with that. If they are in the city, parking, if they have special like parking in the city where that is very rare or difficult to find, that for me is super like a selling point. And you can also add touristic attractions close to the rental so that people know that if you're looking to stay for a specific place you want to visit, then you're close to the area. That will help them make a decision that is, probably beneficial for them and for you. One of the things that I don't recommend is listing your number of bedrooms and baths, unless it is very rare. Like if it's a huge house that has that many bedrooms and that's rare in the area, then yeah, list it, because probably someone is looking for a family reunion where they need that many bedrooms. Other than that, there's no need, because there are other ways you can share it. For example, in the stories, in the posts, you can share about how many bedrooms they have. It doesn't have to be on a prime spot like a description. There are many other things that you should put there that are taking the space of, bedrooms and bathrooms. And another thing that I really don't see value is including your name as the host. We all know there's a host back there. There has to be someone, right? I don't really care for your name. It's taking prime spot.
That's true.
Something that is saleable. You could add there something that would add more value, that will sell property. So things to keep in mind. Again, unless your name is important for a specific reason or you want to create your brand around it.
Or if you're a celebrity, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But otherwise, don't use the space adding those things, because there are other things that are actually more valuable. Okay, these are some examples that I really like. Some properties that I think their bios are great, and you can see here the examples. Stay Away Barcelona. So they have the Barcelona apartments in their name. They have clear that they are in Barcelona, that they have long and short-term rentals apartments. They're close to main attractions. They are perfect for families and couples, and they also have their link there. I love the one from the Surf Shack Kauai. They tell you like this is a boutique rental nestled on an overlook with panoramic ocean and mountain views. That for me is a selling point. And it's a place to slow yourself down. So I can already imagine myself there, just hanging there and chilling. And one thing that they also do is that they take pictures there. They rent this place to have photo shoots. So they have the slip here and also take pictures here, because that's letting them know that, yeah, you can also take pictures here. We can book a photo shoot for you. So I think that's pretty clever. Those are important information that will help people make decisions. Okay, I need a sip of water.
Okay, no problem.
And step number 3, this is probably what people struggle with the most. And this is where I want to tell you, don't overthink it. We want to market your property, and there's something I may have included this slide, but if not, I'm not sure if it's included at the end, but I want to make sure I say it. People tend to, there's a statistic that people have to see the marketing of something 7 times before they make a decision to buy or use the service. So at least 7 times. Imagine how much more you had to market for someone to actually book their vacations at your place. So it is very important that you think about sharing. Don't ever think you're oversharing properties of your pictures of your property, because it's actually needed. So let's talk first about defining your content pillars. Then we're going to go over hashtags and then how to plan your weekly content. But I think defining your content pillars will help you a lot onto what you should be posting. So super high level, what are the types of content? So, as you know, we have single posts. Those are the static, unique images that are often posted, right? And we also have carousel posts. These are when you have multiple pictures that you swipe. These two type of posts are very good for account growth. They are good to educate people, to inspire people. If you want to put like a post about why you should stay here, those type of posts are really good. And what I like the most about carousel posts is that Instagram will help you because they will show it to you once, and if you didn't scroll to the left, right, if you didn't swipe, they will show you again with the second picture. So you have two opportunities for people to see your post. So I love including carousel posts in my type of content. Then stories. Stories are very good for starting conversations and for like adding authenticity, my real life behind the scenes, and building trust because people can see that there's actually someone there, right? Sharing content. So what you share will depend on what you want to achieve. Reels, on the other hand, are, of course, the newest formats on Instagram, and these are good for account growth and for reach. If you want to reach more people, Reels is the way to go. So keep this in mind when you're thinking about what to create and what type of content to use. That will depend on what you want to achieve. If you're new, usually people want to, get more reach because you want people to discover your accounts. And I recommend start with Reels. Don't be afraid of Reels. They're making it easier by the time. Like every time they make it easier, they have templates now that you can use on Instagram. So it might be time consuming at the beginning, but
Reels, reels are, before you start them, they're very intimidating. But I will say that the posts that I have put on as reels have just done hundreds of times better than a static post. So I mean, it's shocking how well a simple reel will do, as opposed to a static image, which you might think is fantastic. A bad reel is going to do even better.
Yeah. It's crazy how it works. Still, like social media, they have their rules of their own, and they do whatever they want. So we kind of have to navigate it as we can, and getting the knowledge that is out there. This is still very new. Like even though Instagram has been there for years, every time they do something new, everything changes. So if reels are the new thing, try it. You don't lose anything. They might be bad, but you learn from it. And I'm telling you, from the maybe 2 or 3 years ago when they started, they were so hard to make. Now they're making it way easier. So still difficult for someone who's doing it for the first time, but trust me, you're gonna get good at it as you keep practicing. Okay, so when you think about this, is something I get asked often, like, but I don't know what to share, like pictures all the time of the property. Well, this is a good way that I organize the content for my clients. So I think of content pillars. You might have heard of that before, but how I see it is like categories that I could share about. You have a property, but you don't only have property. You have a place where you showcase decoration, beautiful decoration. You have a place that have amenities that people don't have at their property. You are located in a new place, so people want to go there and discover what's out there. So you can think of different categories of things that you can share about. And these are some ideas like location. You can even talk about your hosting life on stories, like, oh, today I'm hosting a group of friends. This is what I'm doing for them. Things like that are a good type of content. And I like to share this as idea, so you keep that in mind, that it doesn't have to be this perfect, beautiful picture. You can also use stories to do something more informal and talk about your day-to-day. So things that I do, I write these categories and then start writing ideas. And I even have a running list on my phone, and we'll share that in the next slide. where I track all my ideas. Okay, I'm going to talk about this next, and I just one day I'm driving and I'm like, I think of something, I write it down real quick, and then when I sit down to create my content, I go in there and have my inspiration. So this is some examples of what I would do. For example, for if I select these three categories, amenities, think about what makes your space unique. What are your favorite amenities? What are the guests' favorite spaces? Because they, when they write the reviews, they write about, oh, the sitting by the fireplace was amazing. Share more about that. You know, those are places where you can find information of what to share. Um, Location, what are your favorite restaurants? What are the best local shops, parks, events that are happening? And also under guest experience, I like to share guest reviews. I like to share what my welcome basket looks like, the guest book. Every now and then, it's pictures of the guest book, things like that. So I hope this starts working on your mind of things that you can start sharing and not like get this analysis paralysis of I don't want to
Right.
share the picture of the bedroom again. Share it and think
Right.
about these other things that you could be sharing. Um, and this is what I was mentioning. These are tips that I use. I have my notes app on my phone, and I start writing down whenever I think of something. Quotes that I like that I saw, I added there. I add them there because that's something I could use. And one thing that really has helped me a lot is create an album on my phone, on my camera roll of things. Okay, this week I see this picture, I love it. I'm going to share it there. I'm going to move it there because those are the pictures that I'm going to be using for the next 2 weeks. 4 or 6 pictures are going to help you. Like, you just, sometimes you're just bored on your phone looking and you go through your camera roll. Oh, this picture of the property is really pretty. I forgot about it. Move it to the album so you can think about, like, you have it there for your next content plan. Those are things that have helped me. And things like screenshot of your guest reviews. You crop it really pretty and then you post that. That is content. You can screenshot your Airbnb calendar to show availability. So you don't have to be a designer. You can use screenshot to help you share things on your stories or your posts. And finally, I want to touch base on hashtags. Hashtags are still useful. If you're new to hashtags, these are like little folders, imaginary folders in which like you use them to group type of pictures or type of content. So people still use it. They are still useful. Um, when you go to your insights of a post, once you get more familiar with Instagram, you can see the insights of your post, the metrics. How have they performed? And there is a section where it says how many people have reached you or reached that post because of the hashtags. And you see that that number is still high in many cases. So hashtags are still working. The way I find hashtags are through tourism companies, local influencers, photographers, things like that. But I'm going to show you real quick here how I do it. So in this case, this was a New Hampshire account that I was managing, and I was researching what hashtags I could use. So I went on into like Social New England, for example. This is an influencer of the area. And I started looking at their posts and what hashtags they were using. I selected a few of them that would be applicable to my account. Explore New Hampshire, that is an account that explores things about New Hampshire. Also search for those hashtags that we're using, because if we are using the same hashtags, people that follow them will also be able to find me through the hashtag. So take some time. I have my tip here of setting maybe 30 minutes one day to look for hashtags and create your set, because that will help you get that ahead of time and not think about what hashtags can I come up with every time I post something. So same trick about your note app. I save my hashtags in a notes app and I use them from there. Every time I post something, I go copy paste from there. So these are things that will help you save time and have all your tools there where you need it on your phone. You don't need crazy fancy platforms. There are out there for you to optimize everything and help you out. But if you don't have the time or you don't have the knowledge yet, you can start with your phone. You can start doing everything on your phone. Your notes app is, I think, lifesaver for me. It's something that has helped me a lot. Um, and it's nothing crazy. It's just your notes app. So that
I use
way
my
I
notes
can.
app all the time. I might have like 200 notes, and periodically I'll have to go
Yeah.
through and get rid of them and try to figure out what they
Yes,
meant
I mean, it's good to
because I
have
don't
it
remember.
organized. Title them. Yeah, it's good to title them. I've learned that the hard way because I keep opening like, no, no, no. I'm gonna have one
Right.
running list and one that says this account hashtags and this account caption ideas, things like
Well,
that.
that's smart.
That
Yeah.
actually help you. I learned it the hard way, but telling you all to do it because it's actually very helpful.
Yeah.
It
Good
makes
advice.
it makes
I wish
your
you'd
life
told me that three
easier.
years ago. I would know,
I'm
what was in my
sorry, three
notes
years ago
now.
I had a I had a mess on my phone. But now this is all helping me keep it organized and just make the task easier. I don't want to spend that much time on my phone because I did that 3 years ago maybe, and there was a point in which I'm like, I don't want to see my phone anymore. And
Yeah.
it was difficult because it was also my work. Um, so I had to find a way that would help me spend less time, but still be efficient, effective with what I did, because I still want my clients to perform well. So those are things that are very basic. There's so much more that you can learn, but right now, I think that's a good start for those that are starting from scratch or really want to go back and visit the basics. Um, so that you can get better and get you know
Attract more
your
guests.
time. Yeah, exactly, the time you're spending, make
Yeah.
it well.
Right. Attract more guests, which makes you more money, but do it in less
Exactly.
time. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That's the
Yes.
goal. So I have a couple of questions,
Okay,
if that's okay. Um,
open for questions now.
okay. All right. My first question is it okay to mix personal and hosting stuff on the same account?
So this is what I think, right? Depending how personal you want to get.
Okay.
Very personal, I would try to avoid. But also, I like people to see that there's a face behind the business. Um, People like to see that there's someone, that they're not just dealing with a computer. So I often tell hosts, like, just show up in the stories here now and then and talk about, like, oh, even funny stories about hosting. Like, I got home, I got to the rental and this happened, how crazy. And just make a joke about it. Or, hey, this is me, I'm like cleaning the apartment, or just checking, or even buying decorations for the rental. That is more personal stuff because they see your face, but you don't have to get there to talk about all your problems, or
Right.
maybe something that's political views, things like that are really not that's really not the place. You want to host people and feel people open for them to stay at your place and for it to be a safe place. So that I think that for them to see a host there that is working on the rental, that's great. Other
Yeah.
than that, there's no need to share that much.
Okay. I have another question about hashtags because never quite sure how many hashtags to use.
Yes.
Um, do you use the same ones all the time, or do you mix it up, or do you have
I
like,
don't Yeah, I don't think there's an answer for it. And if someone tells you this is the amount of hashtags, unless they have a lot of data to justify it, I'll be like skeptical. Um,
okay,
you have up to 30. I use between 20 and 30 because there's more opportunity for people to find you.
okay,
Um, there's people that have said 8 hashtags work well. That depends on your market and your niche. It really depends on so many things. So if you can come up with, let's say, 15, that's great.
okay.
Um,
And should
I
they be
like
different
20
for
to
every
30.
picture, or are they all the same
There,
because you're
yeah.
always talking about the same place?
Yeah, I like to alternate them because, for example, there's a picture of your coffee.
Mhm.
Um, you can add FU related to coffee lovers
Oh, okay.
because they will see the coffee and you can discover you through that picture of your coffee. So you can add, I would say start with a base of 15. My
Okay.
base was 20, but you know, you can do as much as you can. If
Okay.
you find 20, great. If not, try to find 15 that work for you, and then leave space to add things that are more specific to the picture you're
Okay.
sharing, or to the
Okay.
moment, or the season. Even the season, if there's a specific event, you can use those hashtags.
Oh,
Add them to that specific post.
that's good.
That's what
That's a good one.
what has worked for me.
Okay, let's see. So a lot of I see accounts, different accounts, not necessarily home hosting, but sometimes where people kind of have a theme. Some people use, I don't know if they're still using it, the grid thing, or
Mhm.
is there? I mean, do you need to do that, or is it just more
Right.
aesthetically pleasing, and so maybe people spend more time on your account? What? How do you feel about that?
I'm so happy that you asked that because back then, Instagram was a different place.
Hmm.
Everything was about having a cohesive um, profile. Everything looked pretty because people would go because the account was pretty and they would like to see everything cohesive. That has shifted with the introduction of Reels. People
Hmm.
still keep their brand because now Reels have become more of like just, make the message out there, put it out there, and do something fun. But it's not necessarily keep it pretty.
Got it.
It has
Okay.
become more of a informal platform, just like TikTok. We're competing with other social media, so there are we as if I was Instagram. Instagram is competing with TikTok, and they have to kind of like look alike, and but they're struggling to find, I think, the in between. So, um,
Okay.
the way I do it, I still like to see my brand colors. There's my identity, right? So I want to keep my colors, but I don't focus on creating the perfect grid because that has shifted to create different type of content, um, have more fun is what I feel like
Okay.
Instagram
Well,
has moved
that's
to.
actually kind of a relief. So I'm glad to
Hmm.
hear you say that.
Yes. Again, I
So,
like to keep my colors and everything kind of branded, but not perfectly curated feed.
okay. Well, I feel like doing that on mine. So I'll have to
Yeah.
ask you.
Yes, me too.
I just want to say that
Good job.
I've worked with you
Hmm.
before in the past. I have thought so highly of everything you know, and everything that you do and the way that you help me. So I want to encourage any home host, if they're just starting out, or if they're struggling, or if they just want someone else to take over because they have so much other stuff to do. Lace Hernandez is a fantastic resource. And if people want to work with you, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my website, mintsdrhosting.com, or on Instagram, mintsdrhosting. And I'll
Okay.
have that posted here in a second.
Okay.
Um, let me go to the last slide. This is where you can find me, Mint SDR Hosting or mintsdrhosting.com. My email is hello@mintsdrhosting.com. I like Instagram better, so if you can find me through Instagram, that's perfect. And I'm there pretty often because that's my home base. That's what I do. Um, so yeah, you can reach out, and I love helping out people. Like, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. This is really what I love doing.
Okay. And did you want to share? Do you have upcoming programs that you're offering? Do people
Yes.
work one on one with you, or how is it set up when you work with people?
Yes, thanks. So I have a course for those that are do-it-yourselfers. If you want to learn how to do everything, literally everything from the very basics of creating your foundations, then your Instagram bio, to actually creating reels and getting more into creating pretty reels and all that, and designing. The SDR and Instagram Suite bundle is my signature course. So it is available at $97. You can go to my website and find it there under the course section. I think it's very, very useful. It's specifically for people who don't have that much time. So the modules are very short, and they're very well explained. I think I took the time to like guide people so that there are no questions. And if there are, they can reach out to me. But I wanted to be very clear of what is important on Instagram, what you should spend time on, and what you shouldn't spend that much time on, because we're all super busy. And I have another way of working with me, which is the Roadmap to Success strategy call. This is a 60-minute call for all of you that don't know how to get started, but want to get started, but also don't have maybe the budget right now to hire me for 6 months. This is a great way to get started and see if you can try it by yourself. If not, we can work together. But setting up this call, we're going to be working on defining your foundations, your brand, who your ideal clients are. We're going to talk about market analysis. I'm going to help you find out who's your competitors and how can you market it differently so that you succeed and you stand out. Work on your marketing plan, what you're going to be sharing about, what your content pillars should be, what your hashtags should be, and develop your social media strategy so that you're all set up for success and you can do it all yourself. So those are the two ways that you can work with me right now. And I'm super excited to help out anyone and be part of this community.
Well, you know what, Lace? I think you're great. And I love the information you share. It's always very clear. It makes Instagram always make more sense after we've spoken. So thanks for your time today. And I want to tell everybody that next week I'll be talking to Kate Campbell. She's with Be Brave Interiors. And I look forward to seeing everybody again. And please reach out to Lace. She's going to help you. And remember, more Instagram followers and viewers and people scrolling through means potentially more guests, which means potentially more money. So that's the bottom line. That's what we're here for. Yes. So thanks everybody. Thanks, Lace. Take care.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.